Hi, I'm Jeff Bellomo with Bellomo Associates, and welcome to the Red Wagon and Estate Planning and Elder Law Show, where it's hosted by me, yours truly, Jeffrey Bellomo, where we talk all things estate planning and elder law, and anything else that we want to talk about. Today is going to fall under the and anything else we want to talk about category. I've been getting a lot of questions from clients, professionals, what's new with Bellomo and Associates, what's going on, what did 2022 kind of mean for you guys, and what can we expect in 2023? So I thought, great, you get enough questions and you start to think, well, maybe people really are interested. So 2022 saw us expand to Lancaster County. We opened an office at 2173 Embassy Drive in Lancaster. So that was really cool. We were using space previously. Dear friends of ours with Catherine and Briggs and Greenberg were letting us use their space for years. And we certainly want to give them a shout out. They are the best personal injury firm that there is. We love those guys over there and gals. They do a great job. So a shout out to Catherine and Briggs and Greenberg for letting us use their office space in Lancaster across from the mall over there in Lancaster. But we did get our own space in 2022, 2173 Embassy Drive, and certainly we're enjoying being in Lancaster. We're immersed over there now, and certainly loving it. 2022, in regards to the Lancaster office, also brought a new community outreach coordinator. Jess Delp joined us in 2022, and we couldn't be more happy to have Jess. So her job as the community outreach coordinator is to kind of get out there, meet new people, get new relationships. So if you're a professional and you're listening to this podcast, by all means, please give the office a call, 717-845-5390. Ask to schedule a meeting with Jess Delp, and she will be able to kind of introduce our firm, talk about how we can work together. We certainly are always looking for events to present and to do. So that is her job and her focus. And also in regards to that vein, we added Rosalind Jatar, who is our director of marketing, who's actually from California. And I've known Roz for, at least 15 years. She worked with other law firms, estate planning and elder law firms. She worked with other marketing companies and has her own company that she also does social strategy for companies, but did agree to come on board with us full time, which we're honored to have her as well. So 2022, from a marketing and community outreach perspective, was certainly a big year for us. Years don't always mean great things, right? Sometimes there's some negatives. So in January, my wife and my daughter and I were heading to Bon Air. I know that on another podcast we had instructor dive master Chelsea Richardson join us. Certainly a great podcast. We've gotten a lot of great feedback on that. If you're interested in scuba, I would highly recommend it. So we were headed to Bon Air and we flew to Miami. And of course, at that time, in January of 2022, they were still doing the testing before you could enter. We were flying into Aruba and then over to Bon Air. So for those of you who aren't sure geographically, Bon Air is down in the ABC Islands, so Aruba, Bon Air, Curacao. We were flying into Aruba, and we were going to then head over to Bon Air. Unfortunately, we get to Miami, and I test positive for COVID. So it was a tough moment. Of course, my daughter, who is 13, did not understand exactly what happened. In fact, if you asked Deanna, I'm sure to this day she would still tell you she's mad at me for that. But obviously, I didn't do anything to want COVID or to invite COVID into my life. But sometimes it happens, and it did. So rather than drive home 18 hours, it was winter. It was snowing at that time. It was freezing up here in York, Pennsylvania. And frankly, I didn't want to be in a car with my wife and daughter for 18 hours. And I was not able to fly. I did test at the Miami airport, so they immediately notified the airlines. The airlines immediately sent me text messages saying that your flight was canceled, and I was unable to go anywhere for 14 days on a plane. So we went ahead and actually rented a house in Naples, Pennsylvania, or sorry, Naples, Florida, which is a beautiful area. We drove over there, and my wife and my daughter were able to, go out and about, go to dinners, kind of do some things. I quarantined in the house, kind of had my own corner of this house that we rented, which was beautiful, and it worked out great. So 14 days later, we do come back to Pennsylvania, but all of a sudden now, my wife keeps waking me up in the middle of the night. Jeff, what's wrong? You're gasping for air. You're struggling. What's up? And I had no idea. I thought I was sleeping. I thought everything was good. So, turned out I had some pretty severe sleep apnea. My personal feeling is that it was caused from the COVID. I've done some research. It could be related to the long COVID piece. A couple of people in my life have said, well, that doesn't make sense. You're a little overweight. Yeah, I agree. But, I was certainly overweight in 21 as well. So it's not as though I woke up and all of a sudden, I gained weight. I was always a little heavy. And, of course, the COVID is when we kind of noticed it. We didn't sleep in the same room for 14 days because I was quarantining in the house. So she didn't really know what was occurring in the evening until we got home. So that's the short story. The long story is that I wasn't able to finally get a BiPAP machine until, I don't know, September-ish. It did take a while to get in for the sleep study. The wonderful lady who did the sleep study, when she woke me up, said, you are a very, very, very severe case, and one of the worst I've ever seen. In 35 years of doing this. So I knew in that moment, it was not good. I knew that I needed to be careful. So I was having a tough time, just health-wise, in the year. So I ended up working from home a little bit. Didn't feel comfortable driving, didn't feel comfortable because I wasn't sleeping well, and I was very tired. So I ended up trying to kind of do different duties for the firm, which is also partly where the podcast came from. We wrote a book. It's called The Fork in the Road, where modern estate planning is taking the different forks. So expect that to be out, hopefully March, April. We'll certainly do a podcast about the book launch and how you can get your copy of the book. So some great things came out of it in that I was able to do a ton of videos, a ton of blogs, a ton of video blogs, as well as the book, the podcasts, and certainly my role changed within the firm in order to be able to stay home and do some of the things that I needed to do for my health and for myself and my family. But the firm itself, as we've talked in other podcasts, has several other lawyers and, 26, 27 other team members who are able to step up and help out. So it actually worked out very well. Certainly in the moment, it was difficult, very tough, hard to explain, to clients about not being able to take as many meetings. And obviously for privacy reasons, we weren't telling people about my health issues. Nothing certainly fatal or anything that was terminal, but definitely a tough year. And to get into a sleep study and then to get a BiPAP took several months because of the back orders that several companies had. So it just was a perfect storm, if you will. And so unfortunately, that is a good part of what consumed 2022, but certainly springs us into 2023, which I could not be more excited about. We are looking at some new space in Lancaster to kind of fit some of our newer needs. We love doing the weekly workshops that we do in York and, currently bi-weekly that we're doing in Lancaster, and certainly we'll continue to do those. There is no question. 2023, we're definitely going to be doing our boot camps. So if you're a professional looking for credits, healthcare professionals, financial professionals, we do have it accredited on the financial side for insurance agents, CFPs, CPAs. On the healthcare side, we have it accredited for social workers, RN, certified nurse practitioners, family and marriage counselors, and others. So please check us out, www.bellomoassociates.com. give us a call at 717-845-5390, and we will certainly love to give you the boot camp information. And I love to host events. Now that I'm healthy, I'm out speaking everywhere again, certainly trying to educate the community. As I'm sure you've heard on the other podcast, we focus and really pride ourselves on education so that what happened to my family doesn't happen to yours. And we continue that into 2023. Certainly love the office in Lancaster. We may move just to meet some of our future needs, and certainly we'll announce that when it happens. But definitely looking forward to continuing that as well. And with our outreach coordinators, our outreach coordinator will certainly be out in the community at a ton of community events that we will be at, and certainly we'll be speaking in the community as always. So, I thank you for joining us on this episode of the Red Wagon Estate Planning and Elder Law Show, hosted by me, yours truly, Jeffrey Bellomo. On this podcast, we talked a little bit about 2022, what it meant for me personally and professionally, and also, honestly, the wonderful things that came from it. We would not be in a position at Bellomo Associates where we had all these podcasts and the book and wonderful videos and education that I was able to do. And now I'm able to get out into the community more and be able to assist and spread the word of education. So turned out to be a wonderful thing. I apologize to anyone who wanted to get in with me last year and was unable to. We hope that you understand what was occurring, and we can't thank you enough for your support with Bellomo and Associates. We look forward to seeing you on the next podcast of the Red Wagon Estate Planning and Elder Law Show, hosted by me, yours truly, Jeffrey Bellomo. We look forward to seeing you on the next podcast. Have a wonderful day, everybody.